Tom.
And I'm Molly.
Welcome to Friends at Gameology, hosted by MoonlightCrew.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less. One Night Ultimate Werewolf, distinguished from Werewolf in that you only play one night, as is in the title. What that means is, instead of playing in several rounds, everyone will close their eyes during the night only once, and when everyone wakes up, you vote on a person to die. You're trying to say that person's a werewolf, and then they flip over their card. If a werewolf dies, the werewolves lose. If a werewolf doesn't die, the werewolves win. And then the villagers are vice versa on that. If a villager dies, the villagers and that villager who died can still win. Let's just jump into, let me just say really quick, this is a hidden role social deduction game.
You even practiced.
I practiced. All right, let's jump right in. Simplicity versus complexity.
I think this game is simple and complex. I think there's a lot of roles. So when we teach it to new players, we have to, there's just a lot of roles. The doppelganger is by far one of the, it's not confusing, but it is hard to explain. And so explaining all these things, what they do, and then sometimes how they win. Like the Tanner's win condition is different, right? The Tanner only wins if he dies, which means the villagers could win with him, or the werewolves could win with him, right? So the Tanner only wins if he dies. So there's a little confusing. The robber, you move yourself. The troublemaker, you only move other people. But after a couple plays, you'll remember, and you'll be great.
I was going to say, I've seen some people make some mistakes with the seer. They accidentally look at two people's cards or something. You're only supposed to look at one. But after playing one time, I think it's simple enough that you'll understand it. Everybody closes their eyes, does night actions depending on what their card is. Those night actions can move cards around. So I thought I was the troublemaker, and I take the troublemaker action, but instead I was robbed, and someone else now is the troublemaker card. Or like there's any number of things that can happen. Somebody else is the doppelganger who becomes the troublemaker who switches me out. There's a lot going on in this game, but I think it's simple enough after a play you'll be able to continue playing. And one play takes 10 minutes. Luck versus strategy.
So if you're on the bad end of social deduction games like me, then being lucky to get the werewolf, you might be able to give it away. So if you're not good at lying or coming up, you're not even having to lie, just coming up with some story, and you get the werewolf, then it's going to be easy to figure out who you are, right? So that's the luck part of it. But if you like social deduction, which is probably why you're playing this game, and then you're probably going to be okay at it, and so then your luck is mitigated by how well you're able to tell a story, how well you're able to strategize with the other werewolf, right? And so how well you're able to come up with something convincing to tell people you're not the werewolf. So I think there's a lot of strategy if you're good at making up those stories.
I think this game is almost 100% strategy. I will admit there are times when you get dealt the Tanner and you have to die, but the villagers aren't buying your story. They're not willing to waste votes to kill you if it means they won't be able to kill a werewolf. And sometimes that happens. However, for pretty much any role, including the Tanner, including the Insomniac, including the Minion, anything, it's bluffing. You have to be able to just get people past the logic, get people past, get them to believe what could possibly be true, even though you know you're lying. But you have to make a plausible story. It's so perfect. There's so much strategy to this game, and I think that leads right into fun versus boring. This game is so much fun. Every time we play, it's a story.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone plays, it's a story. People will play games, they'll come and they'll talk to me. Tom, you wouldn't believe what happened. I was the Tanner, but they thought I was the Minion. Or I was a werewolf, but I said I was a troublemaker. And then the troublemaker was in the middle and no one was the troublemaker. So they believed me and I was able to call them out. Or my favorite, I said I was the troublemaker. I said I switched someone. They said, oh, good. I was the wolf. And then I say, well, I wasn't the troublemaker, and now I know you're the wolf. So, I mean, there's just every time is a story. And we have countless numbers of stories from when we've played this game. And you get the right mix of cards, like where you can choose what you're playing, and it's going to be a blast. I think what you need to do is make sure there's always a little bit of fuzziness to the logic. You get something like the drunk in there. The thematic mechanic of the drunk is that you switch your card with one in the center that, no one knows what they are. And you don't know what it is. You don't look at it because you were drunk. You forgot what happened last night and you turned into a werewolf. You don't even know. And so with that fuzziness, people can't tell. They're like, well, is he a werewolf or do you think he's a minion? Or we can't figure out where the seer is. No one said they're the seer. Could he be the seer? And with that fuzziness, it makes it so there's just it's a little too hard to solve the puzzle, and then it makes lying all the more important, or telling the truth. I think this game is super fun.
I think this game is fun. I think you have to make it for me to be able to lie successfully and to bluff, not lie, bluff. To bluff successfully, there has to be chaos, right? There can't be too much logic going on, because sometimes it can happen that the seer's like, oh, I saw him, he's a werewolf. And then he's like, he tries, and Tom definitely tries to throw it off and be like, no, I was troublemaker, or whatever it is. Try to get people to believe him instead of the person saying they were the seer. So there's a lot of things going on, but the more chaos, the easier it is for me to bluff. And so, like Tom said, there needs to be some fuzziness for it to be fun for everyone, right? Like, even if the werewolves die at the end, they'll be like, oh, I almost had you. You almost believed me, right? So it's fun. Every single time we play, there's yelling, but the fun kind of yelling. There's finger pointing, but that's you're pointing to kill them. There's all sorts of things. So I think this game is fun. BGG rating.
On Board Game Geek, what would you rate it?
I would probably rate it an 8.
Too low.
8
10,
or 9?
10 out of 10, easy peasy. I will always play this game. Very fun.
No. We, as friends at Gameology, will give away a free glitter painting every time we get to multiples of 500 subscribers on YouTube of your favorite geeky thing. So make sure to subscribe now.
Because it could be you that wins.
One Night Ultimate Werewolf. We've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.